Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. The S&P 500 was up 0.4% today. We now are back up into the positive territory for the week after we had that drop, at the beginning of the week with the tariff concerns. So those are obviously behind the market, at least a little bit for the moment, which is a good thing. The ADP jobs report came out today. So ADP is kind of what you'd look at for the smaller companies, private payrolls, 183,000 jobs created last month, higher than expected. Sometimes the market doesn't like that because it's an inflationary possibility. If you're in a recessionary time, the market loves, more jobs. So it kind of depends on where you're at. It wasn't that much higher. The market seemed to kind of shrug that off one way or another. We've been getting a lot of earnings reports that haven't been as good as, you'd want. AMD dropped over 6%. They had a good earnings report, actually, but they had poor outlook on their future growth with artificial intelligence chips. And so the market is, Google had the same kind of thing, missed some estimates, slower growth in the cloud area than expected, for example. And so, at this point in the time, the market is kind of pricing things that, need to come in with a perfect score in order to keep going because they've already stretched them out so much. So it's not a really big deal to have a few little misses here. We're not seeing erosion of earnings. We're seeing, just not the explosive, projections going forward and such. For example, like we used to get out of NVIDIA over the last couple of years. And one of the reasons it kept going so much. Now, NVIDIA does report. They're very late in the earnings, quarter season as we start to report and such. So we'll see, what happens with them. It's becoming a really big event now, the NVIDIA earnings, because it's kind of a bellwether for what's going on in that AI space and, what they talk about. And of course, NVIDIA's got this situation now with this DeepSeek AI platform that can use less chips, although I read an article, still quite a few chips. It's kind of amazing. So nonetheless, this is a category of time right now where earnings are going to be one of the main drivers, and it's been pretty decent actually. I think the earnings are good. Now they're not explosive like they were, and so we had a couple of 20+% rates of return last couple of years, and we had better earnings reports in my opinion in terms of how much they were beating the estimates and how forward guidance is. So it's becoming more of a kind of a middle of the road type earnings season. Still good, still beating expectations, but not by as much. So, we're going to see the market probably moderate somewhat. And the things that are catalysts for the market are maybe a little ways off. If they do a tax cut, especially a tax cut that is well received, at least by the stock market, we should see some gains from that at some point in time. But that's probably a later in time frame. They're going to try to do possibly one giant bill and accomplish a whole bunch of different things in that one bill, which obviously means it could take a little bit longer if they can do it at all. And so, it could be a while before we see that happen. Regulations, coming off the board helps earnings of companies also. So we'll see, what happens with that. So again, we all have our personal opinions about what we like or don't like about the way policies are happening. I'm just trying to explain, how the market looks at things and what have you too. So, this is all these offsetting pieces that we're looking at within, this administration. So far, what we've seen from the tariffs is mostly a negotiating ploy, right? The China thing is still hanging out there. We'll see what happens with that. But, that's not going to be something the market worries too much about over the longer term as compared to, say, permanent tariffs that create an inflationary environment or something along those times. So, we'll see what goes on there. But so not a bad day today. We're back into a positive territory for the week. We're still, a little ways away from a new all-time high. It would be great to see that happen. I'd be a little surprised to see us really take off here. There's just too many things that are kind of hanging out there. And we've been going sideways since the middle of November last year. And again, as I mentioned before, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that can be a good thing. Build a nice base. Let the market take a rest after all of the returns that we've had have been unbelievable. And as long as it's not falling, that's fine with me. Sideways motions can be very, very powerful going forward. So we'll look forward to seeing what's going to happen tomorrow, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you very much.